She can ride this dick for a lifetime. Hold up, bitch, hold up.
Yo guys, what's up and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you all how I produced a song for Moneyman. So basically I'm going to show you all the sample I made because I didn't do the drums. The drums are from @prod_colin on Instagram. He basically got me the placement through this loop. And it's not only a Moneyman song, it's from Moneyman and from Junie. And I'm pretty sure that Moneyman and Junie are, I think, best friends. So that's how the song came together. And if you want to see more stuff of this, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and make sure to turn on the post notifications because I'm live streaming a lot. And make sure to leave a comment on what y'all want to see next. It could be really anything music related. And as I said, please don't forget to subscribe. Plus I will show y'all how I mix and mastered the sample. And now I'm going to play y'all the snippet from Moneyman, and then after that break the sample down. And yeah guys, let's go.
Hold up. Ain't tryna help you get no much that road. Cardin and Conan, knowing that she comes. Big bitch a little older.
So for the first thing I had keyscape with the LA Custom C7 cinematic piano, and I just turned off the reverb, and I had this MIDI from @prod_nash on Instagram. Y'all make sure to check him out. I think I just made it a bit louder from the velocities right here. The volume was already randomized, so I didn't have to do anything. And I can't really say anything to this pattern because as I said, it's a MIDI from @prod_nash, but the MIDI sounds like this. And for the effects on this piano, I had this fully parametric EQ where I cut out a lot of the frequencies that I didn't like. Then I had this EQ again just for some more frequencies. Then I had this RC20 just for the wobble, the magnetic and the EQ. Then this Valhalla vintage warp where I tweaked the mix, the decay and the low cut. Then this simple soothe on its default settings. And then I had this EQ just to cut out some of the lows, just that the lows from this piano don't clash with the bass. Then for the next thing I used the Falcon VST, and I used the World Tube Bank with the Aboriginal flute preset. And I laid down this pretty simple pattern, it's basically just triplets. I randomized the velocities, and the finished pattern is sounding like this. And for the effects on this flute, I had this fully parametric EQ just to cut out some of the frequencies that I didn't like. Then the same thing again. Then this RC20 just for the wobble. This Valhalla vintage warp where I tweaked the mix and the decay. Then this EQ just to cut out some of the lows. And I had this soothe on its default settings, which is basically just an automatic EQ. And I panned it 6% to the left. Then for the next thing I had this pad which is called Commercy. And it's from the Excel Gods one-shot kit. And I basically just laid down this pretty simple pattern, which as y'all can see, it's just simple chords without the middle notes, besides here and there. And it sounds like this. And for the effects on this pad, I had this bottle with this water preset out of the Anvil Enigma bank. Then this Valhalla vintage warp where I tweaked the mix and the decay. Then this fully parametric EQ where I cut out a lot of the lows and low mids and a lot of the highs. I had this soothe on its default settings, and I panned it 25% to the left. And as y'all can hear, it's basically just to give the whole sample more texture and to give the sample more of a bounce. Then after that I just rendered it out, and it sounds the same, but I just rendered it out just that the bottle effect doesn't change. And that's basically it for this pad. Then for the next thing I had this texture which is called Lo-Fi. And it's out of the Excel one-shot kit again, and the texture sound was already in time, so I just left it how it was, and it sounds like this. And for the effects on this texture loop, I just had the simple EQ where I cut out some of the lows and some of the highs, and it's obviously just there to make the sample sound more vintage. Then for the next thing I had the Cymatics vocal loop, which is called Cymatics Infinity Drill Vocal Chop 9, and I pitched it up by 7, brought it into time, put the declick mode on generic. It would have sounded like this. And after I chopped it up, it sounds like this. Then for the effect on this vocal loop, I had this fully parametric EQ where I cut out some of the frequencies that I didn't like. Then this fully reverb tool with these settings. Then this simple soothe on its default settings. And this EQ just to cut out some of the lows and some of the highs just to bring it more to the background. And I panned it 6% to the right and put it 12% in stereo. Then for the next thing I had this Noah Evil loop, which is just a simple perk loop out of the Flowers kit. And I just brought it into time, and it sounds like this. And for the effects, I just set the simple EQ again, where I cut out some of the lows and low mids and some of the highs just to bring it more to the background. Then for the next thing I had this pluck, which is called wing ding, and I just normalized it and laid down this pretty simple pattern. It repeats the whole time and it's just there to give it some texture, and I had some effects to manipulate the sound. I just randomized the velocities and the finished pattern is sounding like this. And for the effects, I had this shaper box with the 2x speed change preset. I just turned off the panning. Then I had this portal with the sparks preset out of the Anvil Enigma bank again. Then this Valhalla vintage verb where I tweaked the mix, the decay and the low cut. Then this EQ where I cut out a lot of the lows and low mids and some of the highs. Then this soothe on its default settings, I just turned it from soft to hard. I panned it 25% to the left and lowered the volume by a lot just to duck it more to the back. Then for the next thing I had this bass which is named Ferno, and I laid down this pretty simple bass line. It just follows the root notes from the piano, and I randomized the velocities just to make it sound more natural or realistic, and it sounds like this. Then for the effects on the bass, I had this fully fast distortion with these settings. It's just a default preset. I just turned the mix to 43%, and then I had this simple EQ where I cut out some of the frequencies that I didn't like, and I put it 62% in mono. Then after that I put my default mastering chain on the sample, which includes this Alex Hilton A1 stereo control with these settings, then this RC20 with these settings, then this plugin where I still don't know what it does, but it makes the sample sound more fire, then this Goodard's Wolf compressor with these settings, this simple soothe on the default settings again, and this EQ where I cut out some of the frequencies that I didn't like or just lowered the volume of these frequencies. And then I rendered the sample out, normalized it, put the declicking mode on generic, put the mode on stretch, and put it on the 8th mixer track. And on the 8th mixer track there is this fruity parametric EQ just to lower the volume of the bass. Then this EQ where I cut out some of the frequencies that I didn't like. Then the sound shifter pitch stereo from waves where I pitched it up by 4 semitones. And I had this EQ again where I cut out some of the muddy lows and lowered the volume of the bass again. And then I had this simple part just to give the whole sample more variation. I basically just chopped the sample up, and I will play you both of these parts, and both parts of the sample are sounding like this. So yeah guys, if you all enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and to subscribe to my channel. And please make sure to comment some video ideas for future videos. And if you don't have video ideas, please make sure to leave a cool comment anyways. Make sure to turn on the post notifications so you don't miss my live streams. And thank you for this crazy support. We are at almost 2K. Yo, make sure to keep going crazy. And yeah guys, see y'all.